What's up, YouTube? It's Biblical Truther. Getting a lot of feedback from my video last night about Jerusalem being in Texas. And I had some more revelation this morning as I was praying on my way to work. That if this is true, I was asking if this is true, why would it be me who has brought this information forth? Because I've never heard anybody tie this in with a place in Jerusalem now called San Antonio. And I was asking, because of my past, and I have changed my life and do my best to walk with Christ. Why me? And I heard in my spirit to show that I have loved thee. And it almost brought me to tears, but that wasn't all. And I'm going to share something with y'all, and I really don't care if the elites find out, because, they know who I am anyway. It really doesn't matter, but I have faith in, our Father, that no harm will come to me from this. This is just a new revelation I feel it's going to unfold quickly, and probably not just me, but there's going to be plenty others that put a whole bunch of things together about this. But my name, and I've been struggling with this for months, because they got the patriarchs in the Bible, and if you put their meanings together, it tells the story of Yahusha coming to save his people. So I started looking at my own name, trying to figure out what it was, or what it where it comes from. And my first name is Michael, and you could do what that means, and it means one who is like God. And I'm not considering myself to be anything close to God. I do share a lot of his personality, I guess, as far as compassion and the willingness to help others, and standing up for the weak and so forth. Because as I've mentioned in the past, I was a very violent person, but I tended to focus that on bullies. I was a bully's bully. But my first name is Michael, and my last name is Davis. And I did a word search on the origins of the last name Davis, or surname Davis, and the only thing that comes up is of King David. Now, I don't know for a fact that I'm a descendant of King David, and I'm not here to tell you guys that I am. I'm just telling you what my last name is and the meaning. But my middle name is where I've been hung up for quite some time, and my middle name is Anthony. So after I got the first word this morning, I'm asking, but how do I know if this is true? How do I know if this is 100% correct? And I heard it's in your name. It's been in your name the whole time. So I got chills. I'm getting chills right now. It's just talking about it. But if we break down my name, Michael Anthony Davis, it means one who is like God. I guess you could say from Antonio, because Anthony is just an English variation of Antonio. And then Davis could be of the city of David or of King David. So that really shocked me this morning, that's what I was told, that it's been my name the whole time. That's just crazy, man. I just wanted to put this out there, but I also wanted to mention a few other things. I had one of my subscribers had commented about the Joshua tree being out there in the West. California, Utah, Nevada. I think it grows pretty much in the desert out there. And I remember as a kid in Sunday school learning about this Joshua tree and the fact that it was biblical. Well, after I started hearing about the Mandela effect, I heard someone mention on a video one time about the Joshua tree, and so I was like, ain't no way. So I looked it up, and sure enough, the only place this tree's found is in the California, Utah, Nevada area. And I was like, surely that's a Mandela effect, because I know as a child I learned about this Joshua tree in Sunday school, having to do with Jerusalem and Israel and Christ. And so I got to looking at that, a couple years ago, like, well, if it was only in Israel, in that area, then how is it in California now? So either there was a massive land shift and all that land just moved to California, or we are living in the promised land, the true promised land. But I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I don't think my spirit was ready for all that at the time. So as I've made some comments to some of my subscribers, that I have been steered away in the past from certain people who are speaking things that sound kind of new agey to me, because I was down so many rabbit holes in the beginning that I have a plethora of information, but a lot of people don't want to take that information without documentation to back it up. So a lot of times I don't mention a lot of these things without having supporting documents or something that I can put in the description. But I'm at work right now, so I felt like I needed to share this. But what's funny about this second Exodus, and if the Hopi prophecies are correct, and there's several people who's had dreams and visions about this mass exodus to the Four Corners region. I don't know if you remember, back in 2015, there was an exercise conducted by our government and military called Jade. And, if you was to take the Helm, if you get my drift, was carried out all through those areas: Texas, New Mexico, I think there was portions of Nevada, that this exercise, it may even extend it all the way out to California, I'm not sure. But I remember this exercise mainly focused on the Southwest, the Central Americas to Southwest. Not exactly sure how much northeast that it covered, but I know for sure there were many exercises from like Colorado all the way across down to Arizona and Texas for sure. But what if these exercises weren't what they told us they was? What if this was exercises that had to do with the second Exodus? That's pretty profound to me, because that means they know it's coming and they're planning for it, right? So that would just make more validity to the fact that this situation in Texas that seemed to have been uncovered is more truthful than we know. And another thing that's funny is, I think in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the Zionists were actually searching for a place to set up the Holy Land. Like, if these were the chosen people, wouldn't they know where it's at? But oddly enough, one of the places they were searching was Texas, and a few other places, as well as what they tell us is the Middle East today, before they settled on the location that it's in now. I thought that was kind of ironic that they would mention Texas. And I don't have the article about that right now, but my wife is doing some translations on that map of Texas to see what we can find. There's a few things I found on there in regards to Lazarus that is on that Texas map as well, as well as a few other things that we were able to translate this morning. I was kind of late getting to work behind that, but this is exciting, man. It truly is exciting. I had some notes and I left my notepad upstairs in the building. I don't remember everything I was wanting to talk about. But the one thing I did want to mention is, if I'm correct in my video from 2 videos ago about the millennial reign having happened already, and the fact that the 1812 era, 1811, there was a comet come through. You know how much the occult have spiritual significance with comets and all. They seem to bring destruction or plague or certain other things when these things pass our realm. But if all that's true and these fallen angels and Satan were released, the first thing I would do, thinking as a serpent, would be to take out as many people that I could to hide that, because that would give rise to the orphan trains and all that, because you can mold the minds of children much better than you can an adult. Like Helm Blavatsky said in her book, if you're going to change a culture, you have to start with the younger generation, right? So that would mean that all these adults in these pictures were probably the conspirators when you're digging into the mud flood. And all these orphan trains were the disobedient tribes that were here, brought back to America. And those children suffered the consequence. Our ancestors that were dispersed throughout the world again. So a lot of people don't want to believe that their ancestors could have been that stupid to have lived through the rain and still not get their stuff together to the point where their children are dispersed throughout the world. But apparently something happened that many of the adults just either abandoned their children, or they disappeared and left the children, or somehow or another they vanished. But what if, according to official history, the Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo was in 1836. So that would play right into the whole Civil War narrative, the Napoleonic Wars that was going on, the Spanish Wars that was going on. I mean, there was wars on almost every continent. Not to mention cataclysms, because I think it's in recorded history that there was a Carrington event happened about the same time. The New Madrid went off and had the Mississippi flowing backwards for 3 days. I think Krakatoa actually went off about that time, or it might have been a different volcano that was going off, kind of like a fiery furnace, But who knows, man? We're only fed the official narrative, but there is residue that we can still find about these things. But if it's true that they were released about that same time, and they went about, taking out the older people so they would have young minds to work with, then it would make sense to me that whoever was in that area where the Alamo's at would have been telling their children to remember the Alamo. Remember the Alamo. And why would that be so permeated in our culture nowadays that it's like a subconscious thing to remember the Alamo? I remember hearing that as a kid, and it's always stuck with me. It's something I never forgot. And especially when I heard that last night before I made that video, it was just, my mind was blown, especially when I started digging up these maps. And then looking through all the pictures of the Alamo, because I've been there before, but I was young, far from the Lord at that time, and I would have never been looking for anything like this. But I tried to blow some pictures up of all the pictures they have of over there, and there's one window on one of the entrances. Above the window there's a stone carving, and I couldn't really get close enough to notice who it was, but it looked a lot like the depiction of Yeshua that they show us, but different. So I don't know, man. They could have just left that up there just to how they like to put everything in our face, hide in plain sight type of thing. But there was another entrance that had some like spiral looking columns that you can tell were not original. They're new stonework. And then it had looked like some Romanesque Greek type pillars with carved artwork as well. But you can tell that that entrance, and that particular entrance, was much newer than the rest of the building. And then they had the little wood that would stick out from the front of the building that would hold the little awnings. The walkway around the perimeter had the little beams across there that would have held the fabric shades or whatever, just like they show us biblical times would have looked like. So I'm not saying this is 100% true, because as most people wouldn't support the fact that I would sit here and say, thus saith the Lord, but thus said the Lord. And the fact that my name means what it means is just mind-blowing in and of itself. Sorry, I don't even remember where I was at. I had my guys just come up to the car and wanted to hang out for a minute, but it's all good because he actually spoke to me some very useful information that is verifiable for you guys. Is the fact that Texas is the only place in the world that can declare their sovereignty at any moment. So if there was to be a new civil conflict here, they would succeed almost immediately. And then what would happen? All these unionized states would surround that one, correct? That was some pretty interesting information. But anyway, William Brantley, I think is his name. This was a dream that this guy had, and you'll know it when I say this quote, and it comes from his dream in the video. You can find it on YouTube. I don't remember what year it is. I think it was 1916 or something. It was way back. But he says in his dream he heard over some radios, "This is California. We are going into the sea. This is California. We are going into the sea." And I don't remember where. I have to find this thing, but there was an article my wife sent me a while back that these people were having these Christian seminars where they were supposedly talking to angels. And these angels had told these people that California will become an island again, and that no one should move out there once it does, because it won't stay an island for long. So I don't know what that exactly means, but I'm sure there's some other prophecies that I remember. I don't recall where they come from at the moment, but it does talk about California breaking away from the United States and becoming an island again. So I don't know. We'll see. And there's some other things, that especially I think it's the New Age and the alien agenda, whatnot, that these channeled quote-unquote aliens are telling them about this pole shift. And I don't think it's a globe earth pole shift, but that everything has to return to the way it was in the past for certain judgments to come upon the earth. And whether or not that's true, I would have to say it is. But you know, these entities have to mix their truth with lies. You know, they promote self rather than, you know, giving the glory to God. But they promote self deification, and that's what I do not agree with. We are not creators. We do not manifest our own realities. We make decisions that kind of, I guess, persuade us through our reality, but we don't create our own reality. So there's many things, like I've said in the past, that a lot of religions have a lot of truths mixed with lies, but you can put them all together, what you know to be truths, and it tells a different picture than most religions do today, one of which is involving spirituality, because that's why Yeshua came back when he did in the past, was because man had so corrupted the law and these doctrines that he had to come straighten them out, one of which is the law has been done away with, when that is not true. Yahushua said himself, "I did not come to do away with the law, but to fulfill it." And he said, you know, love your God with all thy heart, soul, and mind, and love thy neighbor as thyself. And on these two hangs all the laws and the prophets. So you do those two things, and you're pretty much fulfilling the law, because I mentioned in the past how the law had a bunch of laws involving Levitical priesthood and whatnot. So we can't fulfill the entire law as it's written in the Apocrypha or the Torah. Excuse me. However, we can definitely fulfill the rest of them to the best of our abilities. Not saying that we won't stumble along the way, but he definitely came here to show us it was possible. So I felt like I needed to put this out there, man. The Jade taking the Helm thing out there in that area, the Joshua Tree, the California going into the sea, and then the fact that, Texas can succeed anytime they want. And why is that? Why would they be able to do that? Seems like these controllers knew something, or still know something, that may transpire in the near future, right? So, just wanted to put this out there, man. Have y'all a blessed day, and I love you guys.